Hi everyone, we are here today at the Emergence Investment Conference, and I'm delighted to be joined by Glenn Butcher, the CEO at FundWA, a venture capital fund that is focusing on technology enabled innovative businesses in Western Australia. With over 25 years of experience in senior leadership roles at major technology companies like Atlassian and Amazon, Glenn brings a wealth of knowledge to our discussion today. Glenn, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, Glenn, with your extensive experience in senior leadership roles at major technology companies, how do you see the landscape of venture capital and private equity investments evolving, particularly in the technology sector?
It's a great question. There's been a real shift lately towards sustainability. So both economic sustainability of companies, companies with solid business models that have positive economics, and also, of course, sustainability from a ecological sense as well. But that drive towards actual positive cash flows and positive economics has been a real shift in the industry. I think a real change also that's happening now is actually that the investment landscape has long been driven by people's gut. And I think now that's starting to become a much more data-driven. So I see a lot more venture firms and investment houses that say that they're basically data-driven and they invest where the data tells them to go. So I think those are like two major shifts that are kind of have long enduring changes to our industry.
Amazing, very interesting. Now, as the CEO of FundWA, that is focusing on technology enabled innovative businesses in Western Australia, what unique opportunities and challenges do you encounter when investing in this region?
Yes. So WA has long been overlooked by venture capitalists. So West Australia gets about 2% of Australia's venture capital funding. So I'd say it's been very much overlooked, given that we're 10% of Australia's population. So one of the biggest challenges actually is simply making people aware that we actually even exist as a place. Sometimes it can feel very distant from the East Coast, where I lived for a long time myself, and WA can feel like another country. So one of the big challenges, I think, is simply just raising awareness that we exist and we have some amazing technology and some amazing companies over there doing amazing things.
Absolutely. That's amazing, Glenn. Very unique perspective indeed. Now, in your experience, what do you believe sets apart successful technology enabled innovative businesses from those that struggle to gain traction?
Understanding the customer. I see a lot of businesses that have really strong viewpoints around what the customer wants, which is great. But their viewpoint is frequently driven from the view of the company themselves, not the customer's viewpoint. So have this strong commitment to say the customer wants this. And I'm like, well, maybe they do want this, or maybe they don't want this, right? And so the real difference is when they are truly customer-led. In Amazon speak, I would say obsessed with the customer. So they actually really deeply understand what that customer's problem is, and they're able to actually successfully navigate and even pivot around that point, while ultimately being very customer-orientated towards actually solving that customer's true problem. And being oriented around that customer's problem means that maybe your solution is actually not the best solution and you have to change your solution. So you're not orientated from your solution outwards, but from the customer back to you. Those companies that can really build that into their DNA are those that find great product market fit and ultimately great success as a company.
Amazing. Now, Glenn, I have a second part to this question. Can you tell us how does FundWA approach identifying and supporting such companies in its investment portfolio?
So we've been doing this for a while. This is my third venture capital fund, and have a well-refined process around that. But it all comes back down to people. So, you have to meet the people, you have to see them, you have to look at them in the eyes, you have to truly understand them and where, the founders of this business are coming from, and what their connection is to the problem before you can kind of really assess the rest of it. And once you start from the people, you understand that where they're portraying the customer's problem as, how they're actually, solving that problem better than anybody else in the world. And then actually kind of what their execution plan is to actually deliver on that promise to that customer. And it's a bit like a recipe, right? If they've got all the right ingredients in there, they can make an amazing meal.
Definitely, very well said. Now, given your background in technology company building, what key strategies or approaches do you believe are crucial for nurturing and scaling early stage technology companies in today's competitive market?
Oh, several things. So firstly, momentum. Build momentum in your business. So get wins all the time, small wins, big wins, whatever wins you can get on board. Like that's how you build a great business is continuously getting these kind of small wins. And And that's what drives you and your staff through the rough moments, and you'll absolutely have them as a startup. But you basically got this background of actually already having won in so many small ways. That's going to get you through that. Second one is the right people on the boat. So you need the right people in the team doing the right jobs. And if you don't have the right people on the boat, you need to jettison them off the boat fast. Right. It's just a relative startup. You can't carry those people if they're not the right people for your team. And I'd really say, they're kind of like the two really major ingredients. But the third one, goes back to my previous point, and that's don't be afraid to pivot. And if you have to change your business model, change your product, change the solution, change your market, change your customers, then do it. And when you've done it, change it. Don't kind of half change it and say, well, we're still trying to tackle customers in our old market while we're trying to tackle this new market. If you've decided to make a change, then actually follow through and actually stop doing what you're doing before and do the new thing that follows through and pivot. And if you do all those things, you're in a much better place than most.
Definitely. But that's very well said, Len. Now, before we wrap up our interview today, we are here today at the Emergence Investment Conference. So do you have any key takeaways for us? And if you could also share your experience being here with us today.
I love coming to these conferences because there's such a different swathe of people from all kind of walks of life and all kinds of all kind of investment experiences. They anything from property developers to people that have managed to run their own startups and exited out into the US, kind of private equity space themselves. So there's kind of this amazing diversity of experiences. It really helps me get me out of my own bubble and actually talk to these kind of different people and see kind of what they're all thinking as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Len, for sharing your insights with us today. It really has been such a wonderful conversation with you. And to our viewers watching, thank you so much for joining me in this interview. And I look forward to seeing you all in my next one. Thank you.
Thank you.